Okay, hello. I've been really excited about this video as I continue to talk about parenting ideas. So, in the first parenting practices video, we talk about the goals that you have for your children. And the second one, there were some of my own ideas around some of the goals that parents generally have and want to foster. And this is a continuation of that, but it deserved its own video. So in the first parenting idea video, I talk about three important components of fostering the the type of home that will help to create a human being that is kind and self-aware. And there were certain goals we talked about, and this is a final idea or tip, if you want to think about it like that, related. And it has to do with a reality that I'm really passionate about, which is that everybody in the family matters, not just the child. Every human being is precious. And while being smaller makes you, being a child makes you more vulnerable and understandably deserving of your community's protection and special attention, it doesn't make you more valuable. It doesn't mean that your only your needs and wants matter and your parents are suddenly chopped liver. And unfortunately, it feels like more and more in our society where we've swung from the heartbreaking extreme of children being less than nothing to children being the demigods of our households. And I always aim to urge the parents that I talk to recognize that they matter too. And so the fourth parenting idea is to work to sincerely enjoy your family life and to recognize that it's not just what the child wants, that I have witnessed many times the detriment to a child who's raised in a home where their needs and preferences are put on a pedestal above everyone else's. That is not good for anyone in a home. So, for example, if you I was at the zoo this summer, and I saw a couple. It was really interesting to see parents interacting with their children. And this one mother who seemed rather exasperated, understandably, it's a busy place, just there with her child, um, who seemed rather demanding. And the way I heard her talk to him was familiar to me, like, oh, poor thing. I hear that a lot. Or she says to her, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 year old, so what do you want to do next? There's people everywhere. She's exasperated. He's exasperated. And he starts to whine about where he wants to go. And she says that it's not, I don't remember, maybe it was closed or something. So he started throwing a fit. And I just felt so bad for her. This poor woman trying her best, wanted to bring her child to the zoo for a nice day, and he's having a miserable time. And I was feeling much worse for her. She's having a miserable time, poor thing. And I just wanted to ask her, where do you want to go next? If, I mean, not that he was being particularly fun to be around in that moment, but she's at the zoo too having this experience. And she could say, oh, they have a really great penguin exhibit, or we could go see the polar bear. Which one should we do first? What do you think? Like, oh, the polar bear. So in that situation, it's, again, there's the extreme, right? There's the we're not, we never do anything that's child related. We only do what adults want to do. That would be firm and no warmth type of parenting. And then we'd have the poor mom I saw, who at least in that moment, I'm not making a judgment about her parenting. I don't know this woman, but in that one encounter, that was an example of parenting that's very it's not necessarily permissive parenting, but it's very parent is low boundaries and limits. Basically the child, runs the show in that situation. And I have no idea what her life is like. Like I said, I don't know her, but in that example. And so something simple like that added to the misery of the situation. And I just want to encourage families to think about what they want. It used to be more acceptable, and there's been like this swing where adults could say things like, I don't want to listen to screaming, so we're not allowed to scream in the house. And they enforced that rule and it was respected. But then it became this, well, why should you impose your wishes on your child? If it helps them to scream, let them scream. And they're kind of these two these two camps, but let's think about this for a moment. One, if you don't like, if it hurts your ears to hear screaming in your house, is it really or in your yard, or you don't want to be obnoxious to your neighbors, and so you have a rule like you only scream when you're in trouble, and that's an expectation you have of your child. Is that damaging them? Is that hindering their fun and their pleasure and ruining their experience as an adult? Are they not going to become the adult that you want them to because you have an expectation that says we don't scream unless we're in trouble? Is it really that is that you robbing them of their childhood? Or like walking instead of running in a space, or staying with you instead of wandering off? So this makes me think of things like, being on the phone. You don't want to be interrupted when you're on the phone or when you're talking to a friend. So once there's any understanding, you communicate to your child the expectation that when I'm talking to someone, this is how you can get my attention. You walk up, put your hand on my arm, wait patiently until I turn to you, and then you can begin. And that is a very reasonable, appropriate expectation that makes your life easier and teaches your child that self-regulation, courtesy, respect. I mean, the gift to everyone involved, because you were starting by taking care of your needs, is fabulous. By you taking care of your needs in relationship with your child, you are benefiting everyone in that relationship. So please I urge you to think about what matters to you, what rules matter to you in your household. Don't feel bad nitpicking. If you want to make sure that we don't throw clothes on the ground, they always go in the hamper every time. Make it a thing. Parents talk about choosing their battles, and there's absolutely value to that. I understand, as a classroom teacher with 22 students, you pick your battles. But I have also found that sometimes the fewer battles you fight, the less you win. But it's not about winning and losing. But the fewer things you decide to say are important, the more we'll let that go, we'll let that go, we'll let that go, we'll let that go. That's something that I learned over time as a teacher. So starting out where pretty much anything went to, your paper is not, when we left your desk, your paper wasn't in a nice, neat stack. That's something you need to fix. So I went from here to here. And the benefit I've seen for my kids is phenomenal. As learners, as humans interacting with one another. So think carefully about your battles, but know that they reinforce one another. Because there is an ultimate war. I don't know how I got into this battle war thing, but there is an ultimate goal, right? And there are a lot of pieces to it. And so there are a lot of things to teach and manage and instruct. But as you focus on teaching in one area, it makes your child more able in another. And all of this leads to greater joy for your whole family. You want to be able to enjoy and have fun with your children. And it's very hard to do that when you don't particularly like being around your child because they're whiny and complaining and disobedient and disrespectful, etc. That's fair. A lot of parents don't like being parents, and I can understand why. But my argument is that it doesn't have to be that hard. It will always be challenging. It will always be tiresome. Like there's a lot to do. You're responsible for another life. And there's a lot of joy and pride in that. And there's also a lot of work, like everything else that we get joy and pride from. It takes work to build those things, right? So going back to that original goal that we set, I think one of our goals is having a child we like, that we enjoy being in relationship with, that we want to be around. It's always fun to hear from parents who have lived this out and to hear them talk about how, their kids are really good friends and they really enjoy them and have fun talking with them and being with them and doing things together. And it's not that they never get an argument. Every relationship has tension and struggle, and there isn't a friendship, a marriage, a partnership, a business relationship that doesn't sometimes have a bump. So of course we're going to have that with children, our children. But overall, being happy in the relationship and appreciating them and feeling like there's a peace and an ease about the relationship, that's the goal. So if you're not there, my encouragement is that it's possible. I've seen it be possible by starting with your own goals and thinking about what you want. Being the alpha, giving your children opportunities to be independent and to take ownership and responsibility. Really seeing them for who they are, and ultimately recognizing that your needs matter too, and that when you go to set limits, it can be based on the things that you care about, and that your household doesn't center around your child. It centers around everyone in the family so that you can all enjoy life together, and that creating an environment where all of your needs are met and all of your preferences are acknowledged is good for everybody. So thank you for watching. If you are looking for more resources, you can go to my business page. It is linked below. It's called Playground. I would love to hear from you. I offer a variety of resources, and then you can always reach out for more information. And then for people who are looking for a more individualized support and resources, you are more than welcome to take advantage of my consulting services, which you can gain access to on that website. So thanks so much, and I will see you next time.